Hello and welcome to the Infinity Saga and beyond. We are here today talking some Deadpool and Wolverine, giving our last minute predictions, breaking down some moments from the most recent trailer, and really just kind of bringing this hype train home as we are now mere days away from this movie finally being released. My name is Ron. Jordan won't be with us for our coverage of this movie. We've mentioned it on our other shows, but he is a new father, so he will be tending to his fatherly duties and will be leaving the ship to us to sort of man in his stead, so to speak. As I said, my name is Ron, and manning this ship with me through this Deadpool and Wolverine goodness is my co-host and Logjam Media brethren, Chris. Chris, how we doing?
Uh, I'm looking forward to getting it here. It's Thursday can't come soon enough. Seeing it at 4 o'clock on Thursday. If I could see it 3 o'clock, I would.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things like when you think how long it's been this wait, not just for a Marvel movie, like just a Marvel movie of this magnitude, though, one on the sort of scale of an Avengers film or Spider-Man. It's something that it feels like it's been so long since we've like really had something like that to look forward to. And the fact that it's already almost here, like feels kind of surreal. It's one of those weird things where like it feels like it's been forever, but it's also like, oh man, I'm not ready. You know what I mean? but
Yeah,
yeah,
I know what you mean.
yeah. But like we said, we're gonna kind of go through some of the most recent trailer stuff here, then give some cameo predictions at the end. We did a breakdown of the first trailer that released way back when, as a companion to one of our X-Men '97 episodes. I'll drop the link to that below, just so we don't do a little redundant thing where we just kind of go over things we've already done. So what I've done today is we've taken a few stills from the most recent teasers that weren't part of that first one, to just kind of hit on those new talking points that everyone has been discussing. First and foremost, we have here this sort of quick shot we got in the trailer of Lady Deadpool. We didn't see anything from the neck up. They're definitely keeping the identity hidden on purpose. But there's been a lot of rumors about who that's going to be. And before I even list them all off, Chris, just who do you think it's going to be?
I'm gonna say, just based on the image, it seems more Taylor Swift than Blake Lively.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong, and I wouldn't put it past Ryan Reynolds to have Taylor Swift do it for the trailer and then have Blake Lively do it in the movie, or vice versa. Like, I wouldn't put anything past Ryan Reynolds, and then it could be a whole joke afterwards. So, actually, now that I think of it, I it, it's going to be a joke one way or the other, that we're going to be talking about for years, because that's just the way they do things.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting because way back in the rumor mill, and full disclosure, for the past, I would say probably 4 or 5 months here, I have been staying away from all of the leaks, all of the that side of Twitter, where a lot of it is just throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks, but a lot of it does end up being true as well. And I've wanted to go into this movie being as fresh and unspoiled as I possibly could. But with that being said, there was a rumor way back about Taylor Swift being Dazzler in this movie, the mutant Dazzler. So I and then it's kind of shifted back to, oh, she's Lady Deadpool. But I don't think it is going to be. I don't think it is going to be Taylor. I think Blake Lively is a good option. The other one that came to mind is Vanessa, his wife from the Fox universe.
That makes sense.
Yeah, if they were to kind of
Yep,
bring those characters in, because I don't know if the blonde hair that we see, and I'll pull it up again here really quick. It almost
that could be a wig.
it almost, yeah, it looks like a wig, or almost like something. I'm thinking uh like Mega Man, like Zero. It's like the hair is part of the mask itself, and it's not, the actual hair of the person underneath. So maybe something like that. But I think definitely just the quick up and then the quick shot of the blonde and then going away from it. They definitely, at the very least, want you to think that that's Taylor Swift, acknowledging all the rumors that are kind of out there already.
Yeah, the more you talk about this movie, the better it is for this movie. This movie is probably going to do well, but anything that can get it over the edge, they're going to put it out there. But one of the things I think is so interesting about the Lady Deadpool thing is, you know, we don't really know how she's going to fit into the story. And it's a multiversal thing. We know there's a Lady Deadpool from a different Earth, and I'm really interested to see where they go with that, because to me that's almost as interesting as who is Lady Deadpool, because you know we're gonna see, are they looking for other heroes to help in their fight? What's going on? So I'm at the point where I almost don't care who Lady Deadpool is, because we're this close to the movie. I'm kind of past the speculation point. I'm trying to avoid the multiverse of madness trap of everyone's going to be in this, everyone's going to be in this, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. Because Multiverse of Madness is a really good movie, but there's so many people who are still angry about it because it didn't meet up to their expectations. So with Lady Deadpool, I'm kind of more interested in the story than I am uh, who it is, because I have a feeling I'm going to enjoy the movie one way or the other.
Yeah. And we've gotten kind of some hints to where that could be going. We've also seen some stills of Dogpool. We've seen in this trailer as well. I wish I grabbed the image of it, but we see what almost looks like a cowboy Deadpool. Like we get a quick shot of like a midsection, and it's like a Deadpool variant with like a stirrup and all that stuff. Very much kind of had that like vibe. So I think there's definitely going to be some aspect of many Deadpool variants coming together, and that also opens up the door for even more like funny cameo ideas they can bring in, like just you know any actor that's been like fan cast for years as somebody in Marvel but hasn't been there yet, they could throw in there as a Deadpool variant, just as kind of like a vintage Deadpool movie joke. So I think there's a lot of room to work with in that.
And we're definitely going to get there when we talk about our three predictions for
Mhm.
cameos
Yes.
later on in the show. We're kind of saving that, but
Mhm.
we're definitely going to get there. I got some ideas.
Yeah, we got to save the best for last. So that's basically the kind of Lady Deadpool of it. Moving on here, we've got this shot we see again of Deadpool and Wolverine going through this Doctor Strange portal, if you will. We've seen it in a few trailers now, and when we first talked about it, Jordan and I on that X-Men '97 episode, I think we kind of settled on it could be one of those Avengers Infinity War fake outs. Like, remember they kept putting that trailer out there of like Cap and Hulk and all them running through Wakanda, and then it didn't even end up making the movie. So we're
Yeah.
we're, we're kind of wondering if it maybe it's a thing like that, or like maybe it's not actually a Doctor Strange portal in the movie. Maybe it's like some other kind of portal or way out or something, and this is just kind of their way of keeping it vague while also kind of drumming up more interest, which to me would be a little bit of a kind of like tactic if that ended up being true.
Hmm.
But I feel like we've seen it enough now that I feel pretty confident in saying that is going to be some kind of sorcerer, whether it's Strange or Wong or America Chavez or another variant altogether. What do you think?
And we know it's not Walgers. He's binge watching The Sopranos. Come on now.
Yeah,
But
him and Madison.
but yeah, with two D's and a Y.
Well, it is the Wong
But
cinematic universe now, so he's probably the
yeah,
strongest bet.
yeah. No, I just couldn't help but reference that. But yeah, I could see it being a lot of things. I like the idea of the magic being extended in Marvel, and there be more sorcery and more. It could be Ned for all we know. I
Mm.
doubt it, but like. I mean, wouldn't that be the most Deadpool and Wolverine thing you could think of? Let's pull this character from Spider-Man that had that one scene in No Way Home that led nowhere so far. It just seems like a thing they would do. Is it a thing that makes sense? No, but that's also why I'm not ruling it out. This is a movie where if it even kind of makes a fraction of sense, it's a possibility.
Yeah,
And that's what's so exciting is we've seen so much about this movie and we know Jack.
yeah, yeah. It's you kind of think you've got a general frame of what it's going to be, and we know the villain, Cassandra Nova, and all that stuff, and you think you've kind of got a good idea of it, but I can pretty confidently say that I'm expecting to go in and have everything that I expected of this movie to be like blown away. Like I just I also like I see this portal here, and as much as it could be one of those cool fun things just kind of thrown in there for the joke. I hope it's not. I hope it's something that is substantial to the story, because this is them escaping Cassandra Nova, like, who is, we
Mhm.
know, is ultimately the the villain of this movie.
Oh God.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah. I do. It's so much worse now, dude. I do it like, it's now that I established that it's a thing. It's just, everything is ultimately, it sucks. Oh my god. Anyway, we won't get off.
Ultimately.
We won't. Yeah, ultimately, we won't get off on that tangent. But I hope that this isn't just something like a funny cameo thrown in there for the convenience of getting Deadpool and Wolverine out of that moment with Cassandra Nova. Like, I hope it's what came to mind for me is, we know that Doctor Strange is with Clea right now in the multiverse, or the kind of um, like the negative zone sort of thing. You know, they're fixing things up
Yeah.
and trying to stop all these incursions. So it would make a whole lot of sense if he was in this movie, not a variant, but our Doctor Strange. And just given how long it's been
Yeah.
since we've seen him, dude, you know, like, feels like it's been an
Hmm.
eternity at this point, and he's basically been the linchpin outside of Loki of this whole multiverse story. So it just, we got to see some Doctor Strange, some our Doctor Strange, and I really hope that's the case here.
Yeah, I think you're right up there. And I think it's also Marvel getting back to the yarn, tying things together and having that connectivity, because we really need this to be a launching point to bigger things in the MCU.
Mhm.
We're kind of in that. So if it's like we're in a swimming pool, we're treading water. Let's do some laps now. And, this movie is going to be the launching point of a lot of things, one way or the other. Whether it works or doesn't work, whether it's a huge hit or isn't a huge hit, we're really going to test the box office. But I also would like to say the box office talk is a little crazy, because you see stuff like Inside Out 2 doing great. You see some of these movies starting to hit. I think there's an audience there for fun and event. So I think this is an event film. But I I like the idea about Doctor Strange, because anything that ties things together, you just said he's kind of the linchpin of the multiverse saga, and, and we haven't seen Jack. I would not be surprised if we even saw Wanda in this movie, just because I don't think she's dead. And again, if there's even a fraction of a chance that it could happen in this movie. Now, do I think I'm going to see Wanda? No, I'm not saying I think that's going to happen. But what I'm saying is anything that connects to maybe a multiversal madness, or maybe a Doctor Strange, or maybe a weird ramification from No Way Home or something like that. I can see all these things happening, and that's what's so exciting. I really think the first 30 or 40 minutes are going to be like, oh yeah, we know what's coming, and then it's going, oh,
Yeah.
and I'm excited about that. So the portal, I hate to say it, it's much like the Lady Deadpool thing, where I said I almost don't care who Lady Deadpool is. I almost don't care where the portal goes, because I want to find out. I'm at the point where I just want to find out.
Yeah. Yeah, because we've been seeing that since what, the Super Bowl ad, I
The
think.
first trailer, yeah.
Yeah, which was way back in
Yeah,
February. So we've
that was
been.
part of the teaser, not even the full trailer. That was part of that little teaser for
Yep.
the Super Bowl. And I remember the Super Bowl teaser came out. You're like, it was like, it's so little and it's so much. I remember the first trailer came out. I think we talked about it the entire day. Like,
Yeah.
we had like 100 messages in like 2 hours. It was insane.
Mhm.
The anticipation for this movie is, for me anyway, off the charts.
Yeah, and they've done a pristine job, to your point, just kind of speaking on the trailers, of not giving us too much. And here we are, a week, or less than a week out now. And I feel like they're not going to drop anything else that we haven't already seen. Like the trailer we got, it was either last week or 2 weeks ago, that we're kind of combing our way through here today, is probably the last one we're going to see. So 90% of this is still going to be surprises as well. So we've had all this time to anticipate and to give our theories, and meanwhile, none of it has been spoiled in the process, at least for people who haven't been intentionally seeking it out. So it
Yeah, there's some intentional seeking. There's people who need to know everything going into a movie,
yeah.
and it's gotten to the point where it's like, do you need to watch these things anymore? Because you get these, it's it's so silly.
So it's
It's
one of the
just
it's one of those things that I can kind of see both sides of. I used to be one of those people who would love to get into the sort of rumor mill of it all, and see what all these scoopers are talking about. And sometimes, like we said, sometimes it would be right, sometimes it wouldn't. But it was almost a different experience to go in and be like, okay, what did they get right and what didn't they get right?
Yeah.
I found for me personally, that's a kind of a less enjoyable way. Like the Marvels and the last few, I kind of went back and made a point to just kind of go into them blindly, and I found myself enjoying the experiences more than I did that way. But I also can't knock people who just kind of that's how they feel.
Yeah. I find it a middle ground because it's like scoopers have ruined it. That's the problem. It's not that I
That is
don't
true.
want to know things. It's that scoopers have taken it to a level where it's almost insulting to the fan base. It's like they're above the fan base, and you'd be like when the scoopers aren't even part of it and they don't care one way or the other. They're just trying to stir the pot. That's kind of the thing that's ruined it. But like, I want to know a little bit. I like the ride of the movie, so I do follow it. But there's times where I follow it too closely, and I see something, and I'm like, I wish I didn't.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That,
it's the world we live in now.
well, that was Multiverse of Madness. To kind of go back to that for a second, they gave us Xavier in the
Yeah,
trailer, and it's just like, why, man, why? So it's good to see that they've
uh,
kind of learned from that.
exactly. How much would it make a difference though? Just imagine the impact of that scene with Patrick Stewart and Xavier, and you didn't see it already. You didn't know
Yeah,
it was coming. It wasn't a promise. It would have been an expectation, maybe, but it wouldn't have been a promise.
hmm yeah,
Because a lot of times, when I see something in the trailer, I'm just waiting for that moment in the thing. It's like, ooh, I haven't seen that yet. I wonder when that's popping up.
yeah. Especially in the post Vision being 2020 and all that stuff. Hindsight being 2020. Post Vision. What the hell am I talking about? But with hindsight being 2020,
You
knowing
know,
that
you
people's
you're talk
knowing that
you're talking about after Infinity War when Thanos rips the stone out. That's post Vision,
yeah, yeah. And then it
and
was
I was like,
it
I
was
see the dead
post
look in your
Vision.
eyes, and I'm like, this bit did not work the way I wanted it to.
So Wanda makes him post Vision, then he gets back to being not post Vision, and then Thanos makes him post Vision again. So there's just
No, that's subsequent Vision.
yeah, yeah.
So there's post Vision, there's subsequent
All
Vision,
right.
and then there's aftermath Vision.
Oh, geez, he'll be the one that shows up in Vision Quest. Okay.
So will he be gray or will he be like a complete like a pink or something? Okay, we're gonna stop with
I
this.
think he is going to be gray in the show. But yeah, kind of picking things back towards the Deadpool route here. We were talking about some things that we may have picked up from this most recent trailer that weren't in others. And one thing that really stood out to me was a shot that we get here of Deadpool and Wolverine with Al in her apartment, and also this, which is Deadpool and Wolverine falling onto a car in Peter, who you remember from Deadpool 2. He's a car salesman. And Deadpool and Wolverine fall on one of the cars he's trying to sell, apparently. So we were kind of led to believe in that first trailer that once they have the little birthday party scene and then the TVA shows up and they kind of whisk Wade out of there, that's kind of the end of what we're going to see of that old Fox universe. But seeing these shots there of Wolverine being in these scenes, which he's clearly not in that first one, means that they're going to be going back there and spending at least a semi-substantial amount of time there besides just that intro that they're using to kind of get him out of there and into the TVA. So I'm kind of curious. What do you think? Like, do you think it could be maybe he's going back to warn them? Do you think he could be like trying to stop that universe from being incurred upon with these incursions?
I think this is where they go through the portal.
Oh,
That's what I think. I think this at least one portal. This is going to be going through the portal. They're going to be like, it's going to be Wade going shit, shit, shit. We can't get here. We got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. I got a place. I got a place. There's this blind woman. She's hilarious. You'll love her. And then they fall down, and fall down in the car, and then they go to the apartment. I can totally see that. That's kind of would be my bet. Like just on the pieces that we have. Again, I mean, it could be anything.
hmm
But that would be my bet right now.
uh huh. Yeah, that is a good bet that they would come through the portal and then fall onto the car. The only thing with that would be it would have to be like Wade himself would have had to create that portal, you know what I mean? To be like, this is exactly where we're going, sort of thing. So I'm wondering if maybe it could be, you know, whatever the Doctor Strange would be in the Fox universe. They own all of it now, and that universe is going to be dead
Right.
after this anyway. So they could just go crazy if they want to now. They could create a Fox universe, you know, Doctor Strange, a Fox universe, Iron Man, just whatever the hell you want to do. So maybe it is that universe's Doctor Strange kind of pulling Wade and Logan in to help them from their world being destroyed, the same way that many Doctor Strange variants saw their worlds kind of be incurred upon, like we saw in Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things about the sorcerer circle there is y- yeah, uh, is that we just assume it's something stemming from Doctor Strange. Be kind of interesting if it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I'm really into the idea of expanding the magic in Marvel. Like that
Mhm.
sounds like a really, because we've really gone through the cosmic stuff pretty well.
Yeah.
I'd like to expand the magic, and I think the post credit scene of Multiverse of Madness, we started to do that a little bit. We're going there. You know, I feel like Jordan's not the biggest magic guy based on like our Legends of Tomorrow talk, but that's a whole other show.
Mhm.
But like, I kind of like the magic stuff, so I
Me too.
seeing if Marvel extends that.
Me too.
So yeah,
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of
like
that
there's so much
now.
imagination.
And
Yeah.
we've got Agatha coming up. We've seen Wanda, and we've got these sort of different classifications of magic. We've got Wanda's chaos magic. We've got sort of that purple magic. I don't know exactly what it would be called, but that Agatha has. We've got the sort of sling ring orange portals type of thing from the Camartage and
Mhm.
the sorcerers. So it would be interesting if they can, you know, continue to build that out and maybe add some more prominent characters like to the Camartage or stuff like that. Yeah, I'm a big Magic guy, so that would be interesting, at least in this kind of setting for a multiverse thing. I don't know if I'd want, you know, Peter Quill becoming a sorcerer in the main MCU. You know what I mean?
I'd be a little annoyed. I'd be
Yeah,
a little annoyed.
yeah.
I'd be a little annoyed.
But,
Yeah,
but yeah, just for
we,
the sake of like
I,
this, while we're doing multiversal
yeah.
crazy stuff, yeah. If you want to make, you know, who so and so a sorcerer or whatever, and yeah, just go nuts with it. Really, just make it make sense. That's all. It's got to make sense.
Just make it anything but Chris Pratt at this point. Whenever there's a roll up, just anything but Chris Pratt at this point. I love Guardians. I actually love Parks and Rec too, but I'm done.
A
Like
little
he's had
pratted
enough.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to the point. Like it's just an animated movie's coming up. Chris Pratt's going to voice him, and he's going to sound exactly like Chris Pratt. And you're going to be like, "Where did that come from?" And you're just going to be like, "Yeah."
All right. So kind of moving on here, we mentioned a little bit earlier about this TVA, and this TVA is
Hmm.
very clearly much different than the TVA that we last saw at the end of Loki season 2, with Loki kind of holding Yggdrasil together with all these timelines that he's, you know, now binding and keeping together. But this TVA looks vastly different from that one. We've got this sort of Mr. Paradox of it all, whoever this guy in the suit is. Whether he's a higher up with the TVA, who knows? But I'm kind of curious to get your thoughts on that. Is this a different branch of that same TVA? Is this somehow an entirely different TVA altogether? What do you think?
Well, very excited to see the actor Tom Wamgans
Mm.
from Secession. Love the actor. And he
He's
did
got
it
a
all
really
him.
good like snark, but seems like he could also be like serious and a little like creepy and imposing, maybe even like that's kind of one of
Well,
the vibes.
yeah, like in Secession, to spoil the thing, he kind of wins the whole game. But like he's kind of like in Secession, his character is kind of a loser who's just really good at keeping his emotions in check and then just kind of playing the where it goes. So I could see this guy being. I'd love to see him flex some of the muscles that he flexed on that show because I could see him not being 100% straightforward. You get that sneaky British accent that he finally gets to just go in the British accent and be all Britishy. Like it's just he has to me he has to be a villain. Like I'd love to see him just be full blown. I set you up, Deadpool. That would be great. The TVA being different is great because then it makes what we saw in Loki broader. It makes it grander. And with a movie, I would hope it would be grander than a little key lime pie station. Um, you know,
Yeah.
but
And we see in Loki,
yes.
like in both seasons, we see that the TVA is massive. We are kind of quarantined into a few select areas. But when the shots of him running down the hallway, and there's kind of the opening there, and there's just levels and levels and levels and levels. So it could very much
Mhm.
just be, level 64, while we've spent most of our time on level 747.
And it could be a completely different TVA too. It
Mhm.
doesn't even have to be the same. There could be a TVA in every multiverse.
Well, that's kind of
So,
that's kind of what I'm wondering, if how they would be able, because it is all one multiverse, and I'm trying to think of if there is a way to do that, to have a sort of mirror TVA of, if they, again, it's tough. It's kind of trying to like wrap your brain around something that isn't there. Like, I don't know, it's tough, but I'm
I
trying to
think of the
bark up
line in
that
the
dream.
trailer.
Huh?
I think of the line in the trailer of this Wolverine let his entire world down.
Mm,
And I'm thinking, so he obviously knows, like he's obviously like the man behind the screens.
mhm,
He obviously knows some things.
mhm,
I wonder if he's the TVA of that world. Uh, Maybe he's the TVA of the Fox universe, or
mhm.
or or and then maybe we see some of the guys we saw for the Loki show when they go to quote unquote our TVA.
Mhm. Another theory.
So that
Yeah.
yeah.
So another theory that I had was that it could be Cassandra Nova, who we've seen in this trailer numerous times, and we know is going to be probably the main villain of this movie. And there is comic precedent, where she sort of possesses Charles, in the new X-Men that you were kind of reading along with there, with us a few
Hmm.
months ago, um, where she kind of possesses like Charles and does all these horrible things in his name. I'm wondering if this could be sort of a, like, her manifesting as this TVA agent and like trying to get Deadpool to, whether it's get rid of other universes, or prune other universes to then make her army or whatever have you in the void strong enough to where they can now escape. And what is the smoke monster's name that is in Loki, and we see it in the trailer? Um, oh shoot,
Oh, this is killing me because the second you say it, I'm going to be like,
oh shoot. But we know who we're talking about anyway.
yeah.
So maybe it's one of those things where like she is pulling the strings of this TVA agent who may not even really be a TVA agent, and again, just trying to amass this large army of pruned people into the void to make her strong enough to where they can control the multiverse and get through to the TVA, and overpower them, and then Cassandra Nova would essentially be the ruling force of the multiverse. So that's kind of something that popped into my head recently that I'm like, oh, I wonder if they could draw back to the comics there a little bit with that. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. I'm really glad I started reading those comics. I'm really glad I've got an introduction to Cassandra Nova. I'm going to try to get through another arc or two before the movie. I really enjoyed that character just because she's just a little shit. She is my favorite kind of villain. She's just a little shit. Like she's just a bitter little shit. There's no other way I could say it. It's like she's just there. Oh, I can cause destruction. Okay, I'll cause destruction.
Well, and on
And
a mass
those,
level too, because she is one of the most powerful villains in X-Men by far. So she's a little shit, but
well, yeah,
with a
yeah,
lot of punch to pack, a lot of pack to punch. You get what I'm trying to say.
a lot of telepaths to punch.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, we wordplay, the strength of To the Infinity Saga and Beyond. That's why the title is so long.
For sure, for sure. Okay, so we've kind of touched on all the similarities in the or all the differences in the trailers and the new things that we've gotten along the way. So I think without further ado, it's time to talk some cameos here.
All right.
So I'll open the floor to you first. Mine are obscure to obvious. Like they're all over the board in terms of possibility and stuff like that. So I'll
See,
start with
I know what yours are, so that helps.
yeah. I sent you mine in
Yeah.
advance. So yeah, just kind
So,
of fire off your first one and give us a little blurb on why.
all right. So the first one, I think you're gonna see. See, I'm trying not to. Tilda Swinton's my first one.
Mm.
I think we're talking about all these portals,
Hmm.
and she's another character, out of time, out of multiverse,
You're
and
referring to the ancient one from Doctor Strange.
yes, the angel one.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, no one's gonna call it, but like, would it shock you?
No.
So that's my first one.
Bald lady
So
versus bald lady. She comes in and just fights Cassandra Nova.
you get a vault poster going, "Bold ladies get it done."
Yeah, yeah. For our the boys fans out there. No, I like that one. That's actually a really good outside the box pick, especially with all of this the sort of sorcery going on that we've seen very clearly taking place in this movie. I like that a lot. The first one that I had written down here is Channing Tatum as Gambit. I think that one's kind of a layup at this point. We've heard again. I haven't been following the rumors in recent months, but when that first trailer dropped, and even before that, it seemed trending towards that being like one of the first kind of funny little one-off cameos that we'll get in this movie, especially just knowing the history of what happened with him and Fox and the movie being so stop and start before ultimately being killed. Here we go with the ultimately again. It just no movie is better suited to make fun of that whole situation and kind of give Channing Tatum a few minutes to kind of feel what it would be like to be Gambit. So I think that one's a slam dunk, and I really hope we get to see it.
Yeah, I'd actually be disappointed if we didn't.
Yeah,
I mean, that one seems right there. I agree with you.
yep, it's one of the few that I
And
can genuinely say like we're not going to multiverse of madness ourselves, and we're not going to set
yeah,
ourselves up. But that is one of the few that I'll be like, why wouldn't you? If they didn't work that out, or if they like cut it from the movie or something along those lines.
all right. So my second one is another one that's just obvious. Like the first one, kind of wanted to make a wave with, but the second one, Daniel Radcliffe as Wolverine,
Yeah,
just seems like it's just like a Wolverine variant. It has to happen, and if it doesn't happen, I'm actually going to be disappointed. Like he's always said he wanted to do it. Wolverine is comically short in the comics, so or at least shorter than Hugh Jackman. He's not Hugh freaking Jackman.
no,
Um, nobody is, but seriously though, Daniel Radcliffe makes too much sense. I would love that.
yeah, and we see that shot in the trailer, obviously, of the sort of behind look of Patch Wolverine with the white dinner coat and what we assume is an eye
Hmm.
patch if they were sticking to the comic accurate look. And it definitely looked like he had kind of a Daniel Radcliffe build. You know what I mean? Not quite as big and stocky as
Hmm.
Hugh. So that's honestly the scene that I could also see the Gambit cameo coming in. They're all around that table playing poker. Like you could throw him in there, you could throw Gambit, you could just like again all of these sort of like fan casts that have been thrown around the internet for all these years about mutants. Throw them in there, honestly, especially if there's no plans on having them actually be in the MCU. Go for it, Go on that. I forget what the website is, but the one that just has all the fan casts listed. Just like go to the popular ones and be like, all right, yeah, let's just people wanted to see that, so let's kind of have some fun with it. Yeah. So,
Nice.
all right, my second one here. This one's a homer pick, but I'm taking Jean Grey. Give me Famke Janssen from the original trilogy. There was a little back and forth on whether or not she would be in this movie. The last I remember, but there's no way she's not going to be, right. There's no way she's not going to
Yeah,
reunite with Logan and do all that.
yeah. I would almost not even consider this a cameo. I'd almost consider it just a rightful place in the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, she's so connected to Logan. You would think that if you're going to get an X-Men character other than like Colossus and other than like the stuff we've seen in Deadpool,
Mhm.
it's a slam dunk. I love that pick for you, and I know she means so much to you. So
Yeah, and we've
I
seen that's
like that.
actually a good point. That it borders on almost non-cameo territory, especially when you look at all of the X-Men characters we've already seen in the trailer. We got Sabretooth, Toad, like all the people that we've kind of spied in the Cassandra Nova camp. So I think that one's, yeah, that might be a little more just a regular natural addition as opposed to just one of those woo, kind of 5-second things. Yeah. All right, you got
And my
one more.
last one,
Yes.
um, I'm going to go with Anna Paquin as Rogue.
Nice.
Okay, see, Scott, I'm trying to think of characters that, if you notice, I only went out on a limb on one of them.
Yeah.
That one was just for fun because I was just like, I was thinking about it as we were talking.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I had to go with it. But Anna Paquin as Rogue makes so much sense because it's kind of what started this whole thing off is, her in the truck with her at the bar with
Logan.
Logan. And yeah, so I really like that idea. Plus, I mean, who wouldn't want to see Anna Paquin play Rogue again?
Yeah.
It's like, who's turning that down?
Yeah.
She might. She doesn't need it, but
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking. And the way they kind of handled it, like they started off very strong with her in the first movie, and then they kind of made Rogue just sort of a background piece for the last one. So I wouldn't blame her, but I think
yeah, which is so weird. It's such a weird decision to make
yeah,
with
like
Rogue.
to
Just
the
be
point
like,
where they even coming into the later sort of first class era stuff, they cut her out of Days of Future Past entirely. And then like people were like, what, why? And then they had to release the cut with her in it, sort of release the Rogue cut, I guess, there. But yeah, so
the
she's
Rogue cut.
the really hashtag release the Rogue cut. So it's one of those things I would love to see her get one more moment of redemption and be able to kind of close that chapter on a much better note than the way it kind of ended, I guess. So I love that.
Mhm.
That's great. All right. My last one here. We're going to go out on a little bit more of a ledge. And I hope that you've got your flying pants on, your swinging pants on, is what I meant to say, because I am taking Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I think he's going to be the big cameo that we get, the big, like, the one that everyone's talking about when we come out of the theater. We get this quick shot in the trailer. It's literally blink and you miss it of Wade throwing up the like the thwip of the web. We know that these movies are big on having running jokes throughout, and then they get paid off towards the end. It's kind of the Deadpool staple. So I think it could be one of those things where like throughout the movie, like once Wade finds out about the multiverse and all that stuff, he keeps talking about like wanting to meet Spider-Man, and then like at the end, he finally gets to meet Spider-Man, and it's Tobey Maguire. I think that would be a hilarious way to kind of to incorporate him in, and we know that Toby's got to play a part in Secret Wars too, so it wouldn't even just be sort of a fan service thing. It would be probably laying the groundwork for what's going to have to be a pretty quick ramp up process over the next 2 to 3 years. Because that's basically we got less than 2 years to Avengers 5 and less than 3 years to Secret Wars. So they've got to start really, pedal to the metal and start ramping up what this story is going to look like.
So if I didn't know your three, I might have taken your three. They were really good picks.
Yeah.
Like two of the Gambit and Toby were like some of the first things that come to mind. So, I honorable mention. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw Elektra Jennifer Garner from Daredevil,
Yeah.
or maybe even Mr. Fantastic. Take your pick of the Fantastic 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's what I was going to throw him in there as a honorable mention too. I'm just looking up the actor's name because I know I will butcher it. But the first,
Yeah,
the first Reed
I mess
Richards.
it up every time.
Yeah, it's the first Reed Richards though, from the 2005 version. I'm stalling for time here because I really want to get his name. Nope, that's Pedro Pascal. He's the next one. Whatever. Anyway, you all know who I'm referring to. And I like that you brought him up too because I think there's a chance that they could make that Reed Richards the maker of this sort of Secret Wars Marvel Cinematic Universe story we're telling right now. The maker is very prominent in the 2015 Secret Wars, which we know is what they're going to be taking the vast majority of their inspiration for this from, or at least a healthy amount of it, more so than the original. And I just think it would be a perfect way again to bring him back after the abomination that was Rise of the Silver Surfer and the Galactus Cloud and all that stuff. I think that the acting in those movies was actually pretty good, despite the story being all over the place. And I think if you can bring him in as a familiar face, slot him in to a very prominent role, and kind of be sort of opposite our new Reed Richards, which is Pedro Pascal, as I mentioned. I think that would be really fucking fun.
All right, so the actor is Ion Gruffield.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I got his name wrong. It's spelled with I-O. Like, it's like, what the?
We're uncultured swine over here. Cut us some slack, folks.
We are. Yeah. You know, you got a future English teacher over here who can't pronounce the name. It's great.
Your first day of class, I'm just going to play this video over the projector screen.
Well, my luck, I'll have an Ian spelled that way. You know,
Shit.
we're getting to the point where we're going to get a silent K.
Yeah.
And like it'll be spelled Ian,
Yeah.
and it'll be like Ian, but it'll be like what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I wouldn't be shocked if we got him, though. I will tell you, I don't like that Mr. Fantastic at all.
Oh,
There's just
really?
something that just does not click with me. He just seems so cartoony and cheesy, and it's like if you just had a little bit of gravitas in that role, maybe it would work better for me.
Yeah. Well, again, I think that comes down to the writing and how they wanted him to be presented.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is why I think even more so it would be good to have him come in and be this sort of dark Reed Richards, this bitter Reed Richards after his whole universe was destroyed, the Ultimates universe. Which, you know, we're kind of reading some Ultimate stuff now, and he's back again doing his stuff. So yeah, that would be, I think it would be cool.
Well, Chris Evans would actually make the most sense because it would be like a Marvel thing. You could have him play two characters in one cameo.
That's coming in Secret Wars, right? That's gotta
yeah. And then Cap's like, I could do this all day, and you know,
Flame on,
Johnny's like, what? You flame on, something like that,
yeah.
So
it would totally be Johnny Storm like making fun of him, just being like, "Wow, what a dork."
Yeah. Johnny Storm being like, America's ass, my ass.
Yeah.
Some stupid line like that.
Yeah. No, that one's a layup. That's another one that if we don't get it in Deadpool and Wolverine, it's got to be, and I would probably put my money on that being a Secret Wars moment. I think if we get any of the Fantastic Four in this one, it'll be just Reed.
Yeah. You know, I wouldn't be shocked if we got Dazzler after all. I wouldn't be horribly shocked.
Yeah.
I doubt it at this point, but like, you know, there's so many things that could just happen to this movie. Like, it's just, I've never seen a movie where it's like, I've never seen DC market a movie this well, and it kills me.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel is doing such a good job with this.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, James Gunn, please take some freaking notes.
Yeah.
They are getting so much word of mouth and buzz about this movie. I think it's going to put a jolt of lightning up the MCU. Mm-hmm. I really do.
Yep. I couldn't agree with you more, dude. Really couldn't. It is an exciting time for the first time in a long time, I would say, to be an MCU fan. So I guess with that, we can kind of wrap up here. We've touched all our bases, given all of our favorite cameo ideas, and at this point, basically just strap in, folks, because it is pedal to the metal from here. And before we know it, we will be in this theater, hopefully with our hair blown back at one of the best superhero movies we've ever seen.
All right, we got to go out with it. Let's fucking go at the same time, right? It's got to be like a dramatic "Let's fucking go," right? It's how it's got to be.
All right, I'll kind of call. I'll get us out here, and then we will 1, 2, 3 it on the way out. All right. So you can follow all of us on the social medias. I am at Jedi Janasi. Chris, what is your handle again?
Uh, that's a great question. At Football Man 58 is the one that I remember,
Okay.
and at Multiversal Omni is the other one.
Right.
But the thing is changed to Chris's Kryptonian Mind, which I'm still thinking I'm going to change at some point.
Yeah,
it's too long.
It's an ever evolving thing. Our social media presence always.
Absolutely.
But you can find the show at 2 Infinity Saga on Twitter. And I believe Jordan has a TikTok too, but if not, at least on Twitter. And you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, all those good places that you're probably listening to us right now on. So with that said, thank you guys so much for joining us. We are so excited for next week. And Chris, I think it's time.
Let's fucking go.